Mark Seagraves, NBC4, joins us now at the hearings on the RFK vote. Seagraves, what's up, man? Thanks for making time for us.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me. And I have no idea what that prattle was you were just playing right there. That was not my requested walk-up. Hey, but look, you could not have had me on at a more pivotal time, because just minutes ago, and your listeners are going to be the first to get this news, and if you are in favor of getting a stadium here, this is very good news. Council members Janice Lewis-George and Zachary Parker, who have been on the edge of whether or not they would vote yes, because they have had many concerns about project labor agreements, about labor unions being involved in the construction of all of the development in the stadium and around the stadium, just put out a release that they have reached an agreement that will allow them to vote yes on this bill today. So that's 2 votes that they did not think that they had before. They were unsure. They were swing votes. Now they're in the yes column. That almost assures that this will get passed today when the council finally shows up and votes. The hearing, the markup was supposed to start at 11 o'clock this morning. An hour later, has still not started. That is very typical of the unprofessional attitude of the council to start late on everything while the public and press wait. But the big news, this is big news, that council members Zach Parker and Janice Lewis-George say that they have reached a deal that they are satisfied with that will provide union jobs at this site that will allow them to vote yes. So you could see this passing today with as many as 10 or 11 of the 12 council members voting yes. Again, if you are in favor of the team coming back to D.C. and building this stadium, this is very good news for you and breaking news.
So they were trying to not have any union workers work there?
It was going to be the percentage of union jobs, that there was going to be a higher percentage for union jobs for the actual stadium construction, but when it came to the housing and the other development on the 180-acre parcel, those were not going to be committed to union jobs. Now, we haven't seen the specifics of what they have agreed to, but it does mean that there will be a higher percentage of union jobs for the construction of the stadium and the surrounding development. And again, more importantly, for those people who are in favor of this, these are 2 yes votes that the chairman, the team, and the mayor desperately needed.
All right.
I'm talking with Mark Seagraves here from NBC4 with breaking news that 2 D.C. council members have now committed their vote for the RFK Stadium project, which is very good news for this project to go forward. You can follow Mark at Seagraves NBC4. Mark, if you want to tweet that out because you got breaking news, I can vamp for you a little bit, buddy, and let you put it out there.
That's okay. Let's just keep going. I need to get back into the hearing shortly.
So now, how many yes votes do they have?
That's a good question. We knew that they had, certainly 4 to 5. They need 8, right? That is the threshold that they need. They need 8 of the 12 council members, but they would like to get more than that. Chairman Mendelson on Wednesday said that he had hoped that he would get as many as 11 votes. We know Councilmember Brianne Nadeau is a no vote no matter what. She has been steadfast in her stance on that. But the rest, we don't know what Robert White's going to do. He had a very contentious back and forth with the mayor during the public hearing on Wednesday. We know Robert White wants to run for mayor, and he's trying to distinguish himself and set himself apart. But, look, and I think I've told this story to you guys before, if you go back to the baseball vote on the stadium, Linda Kropp was the chairman of the council back then, and at the last minute, in the middle of the night, she voted no, and it killed the deal, and the entire world blew up on her. A week later, they came back, voted again. She changed her vote back to yes, and obviously we ended up getting the team in the stadium. But then Linda Kropp ran for mayor and lost every single precinct in the city, something nobody has ever done before. Even her neighbors did not vote for her, and nobody wants to be that politician in D.C. that even came close to killing this deal, particularly if you want to run for citywide office at some point. And some of these council members who are voting today do have aspirations of running for a different office possibly. So there's a lot going on there, but I think I would not be surprised if when they finally take the vote today that they get as many as 10 yes votes.
Wow, there you go.
Was it a lot? What was the percentage of the people that were in favor all at the thing yesterday? Because I talked to a lot of people, had tons of people over there that were testifying?
Yeah, so when the 2 days of testimony, but was pretty evenly split. Probably more people in favor than against, but it was pretty evenly split. But look, so many of these hundreds of people who testified to an empty room because the council members didn't stick around all day to listen to their testimony.
Wow.
They had already written the legislation, and no, even the chairman said none of that testimony was going to change anybody's minds. There were a lot of people down here on Wednesday when the team and the mayor testified. Again, on both sides of the issue, making their voices heard. But today, I got to say, it's mostly reporters. There's not a lot of press, not a lot of public down here yet. But again, the vote hasn't even started. The D.C. Council, sadly, with a lot of disrespect for the public, routinely starts these hearings very, very late. And today, more than an hour late. And they've got to go through the markup hearing and then the committee of the whole to get to the legislation session. We may not get a final vote till much later this evening.
Do you need to go? Because I know you're in the thick of this thing. So if you need to run, we appreciate it.
You'll know when you hear my walk-off music.
All right. You mentioned, so it seems like there's a ton of momentum towards getting this thing done, right? We got two new
That's
votes.
correct.
Two new votes. Folks that are committed to saying yes because they got some union jobs. That's great. What are the chances of a last-minute wrench in the plans?
Look, anything is possible with these 12 legislators. In any legislative body, anything is possible. But I know, and look, this is the reason that this hearing has been delayed so long this morning, is because these labor negotiations have been going on this morning, and it wasn't until just minutes ago that they resolved that. And so there's been a lot of arm twisting, and I know Mayor Bowser and team officials have met with every single council member over the past couple of days, trying to get their votes, getting them to commit to voting yes, to see what they need in order to vote yes. And again, while there's a lot of vocal opposition, nobody wants to be seen as the person who killed football.
Yeah.
Right? No politician wants that on their resume. And, you may get a council member vote present today rather than yes or no. Real profiles encouraged there. But
yeah, that is such chicken bleep.
That is a possibility that you might get something like that could happen today. But obviously, you've got to wait and see till the final vote. It's not over until the fat lady sings, I think, is a sports thing.
Yep.
But, right now, this news of Janice Lewis George and Zach Parker releasing this statement just minutes ago, that is very positive news. And I'll tell you, to give you an example of how positive it is, I learned of it from the mayor's office. The mayor's office called me immediately to tell me that they had reached this agreement. And so that just signals how happy they are.
It also signals what a G you are in all of this reporting, that they reach out direct to you.
It looks like the council is going to go take the dais right now, so I am going to dip out.
Okay.
Appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you guys having me. I really do.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you for making time, bro. All right,
big time stuff, bro.
Breaking news on the fan right there. Mark Seagraves, NBC4, reporting that D.C. Council members Zachary Parker and Janice Lewis George, who had previously been undecided on their plans for RFK, are now planning to vote yes on the RFK Stadium project. With their support, the council should now have the 8 votes needed to pass the measure. And Seagraves made it sound like you could get as many as 10 votes to pass this. What happens in my read on the situation be, once enough people will publicly commit, some of the people standing in the back are like, I'm in on that too.
Yeah, I've always been in.
Right.
Same face.
Which is why I've said, I disagree with how Brianne Nadeau landed on her position. But I do respect that she came out with a position and has maintained it throughout. Like, at least you're taking a stance. If there's a council member that after all this months, that all the information, all the hearings, all the everything, all the delays, if there's a council member that only votes present, that is chicken bleep.
But if you also hear everything and you don't budge at all, I mean, you didn't care to listen to everything, you would know anyway. And if that position is taken, then you wonder sometimes, do you really care about what the public say? You really care about the information? Or you just going to go with what you think?
Right. Obviously, if you support the stadium, this looks like great news. I know there are some that don't support it, but I think most people do.
Most people do.